Get a better broadcast, podcast and video voice. Hello, I'm Peter Stewart, and today I'm going to go all Henry VIII on you, and I'm going to chop off your head. We're talking about the voyage of your vocalization from lungs to larynx to lips, and at the moment we're in our larynx area, and over the last few days we've talked about the air which is coming up from your lungs and what happens with your larynx with the fluttering. It's more than fluttering really, isn't it? Moving, colliding those vocal folds hundreds of times a second, stopping and allowing the air to flow from your lungs up into your mouth area where you can vocalize your words, where you can form those different sounds with the shape of your articulators, your palate, your tongue, your mouth, your nasal passages, your lips, to create what we understand to be words in just the right order. It's an incredible series of gymnastics that goes on throughout this whole process. But back to our larynx and where we are at the moment, we've got those kind of that organ pipe, which is opening and closing hundreds of times a second, stopping and starting that flow of air. Now, at this point in the process, you've got sound, but you haven't actually got voice. So if I went all Henry VIII over you and cut off your head, you'd just have a pretty faint basic tone coming out of your throat at this stage. That sound needs to be given more tonal resonance and then, as I said, to be shaped and formed into words. Now, the tone is achieved by the vibration being amplified by various resonators in your body. And in a similar way, the body of a violin or trumpet amplifies and enhances the basic sounds from those instruments to give a louder, fuller, richer tone. So think about what you know about those kinds of instruments or other musical instruments. Our equivalents of the body of the guitar are the cave-like oral and the smaller nasal cavities, which provide added depth to the sound, and also even the bones of the skull. Where the guitar has a sound hole, we've got a mouth. So you can see how we are very similar to a musical instrument. So it's in a similar way to the body of a violin, for example, amplifies and enhances the basic sound to give a louder, fuller, richer tone. Now, on their journey to the waiting world, the vibrating pockets of air are diverted to one or other of those cavities, our oral cavity or our nasal cavity, our mouth or our nose in other words, and immediately above the larynx, as we're moving on our journey from lungs to lips, just above the larynx is the similarly named pharynx, where that happens. And constricting muscles here will route the air and sound into the mouth or the nasal resonator areas, and what happens next is the subject of our next few shows, as Get a Better Broadcast, Podcast and Video Voice continues.